Is Julie on? Okay.
I'm on.
Oh. Oh, you, to turn her camera on? Oh, Julie, can you turn your camera on?
Yes, absolutely. Give me 1 second.
Thank you. What if she puts like one of those cat disguised faces? Is that still okay? I'm not a cat. Yeah? Yeah. Ooh. Just give her 5 minutes. Okay, there she is. Okay. Are we ready? Yeah? Okay. All right, I call this regular meeting of the Kyle Housing Authority to order. Will staff please call the roll?
Escobar,
Here.
Garza,
Here.
Orvish.
Oh, Orgish, Julie?
Here.
Perez.
Here.
Okay, well, then let the record reflect that the quorum is present. Before we move to the next item, I want to just take a brief moment to officially welcome our newest board member join us today, Brian Escobar. We now have a 4-member board, and we're incredibly glad to have you here in this leadership to serve the city of Kyle. I'm sure we'll get to it in a bit, but just wanted to say welcome. Okay. Let's go ahead and moving to item 1, consideration and approval of the June 8th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Amber, please present the item.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. You have the minutes in front of you. Oh, sorry, Amber Schmeitz, Interim Executive Director for the record. You have the minutes in front of you. Are there any questions or any changes to the minutes?
Do you guys? Oh, they don't have it. They're looking at it.
Okay.
But I mean, he's,
I reviewed it. I don't
okay. Okay, well, I move to approve the minutes as presented. Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. The motion passes. All right. This is, yeah. So we will now move to open the citizen comment period. The Housing Authority welcomes comments from citizens early in our meetings, and speakers are observed to a 3-minute time limit. Do we have anyone sign up or wishing to speak in the chamber tonight? No? Okay, seeing no citizens wishing to speak, I hereby close the citizens' comment period. Moving on to item 2, the Executive Director Report. Amber, will you please present? Thank you.
Okay, fiscal update. As of posting, we do not have an update on the Franconia claim. It's pending the Department of Justice, but we do believe we will have an update for you at the next board meeting in July. A review update of the property regulations, admissions, and continued occupancy policy for Charles Young. It was approved in November, and we anticipate posting and bringing back for action in July of 2026. Pete Dressen is good. They have current policies in place. Just a confirmation of the upcoming board meetings. Tonight is June 24th, obviously. Our next one is July 22nd, which is considered our annual official meeting. And then items for future meetings, we'll have the admissions and continued occupancy policy for Charles Young as discussed, management company updates. I do believe we have AZJ Ventures on the phone watching as well. So we'll have an update from them and how things are going. And then, like I said, we'll have an update on the Franconia claim as well.
Okay, thank you,
questions?
Amber. No? Okay, so just to put the report kind of in a summary for the residents and the new board members, our regular check-in on the administrative side of our agency, it gives an update on legal terms and I guess update policy updates. So since last year, we've been working through these issues. So it's a long time coming, and we really appreciate you taking this on because I feel like we're finally on the first step in the right track. And also thanks to Haka and everybody else who participated. Let me see. So if there are no questions, I guess we can move on to the next report.
I agree, Viana, and I want to say, yeah, there are a lot of policies that weren't in place. We're very appreciative of the Housing Authority of the City of Austin, who has been a tremendous help in kind of helping us get the Housing Authority back on track, back in professional management. And so looking forward to putting that final ACOP in place.
Yes. All right. Well, so let's move on to item 3, the key performance indicator report. Amber, will you please report?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to turn it over to Michael Roth with the Housing Authority of the City of Austin, as we mentioned. And Michael, do you want to kind of just introduce yourself and kind of speak to the relationship that we have with you right now?
Good evening. My name is Michael Roth. I am the Vice President of Pathways Asset Management with the Housing Authority of the City of Austin. And in my role with Austin, I oversee all of our properties which were formerly in the public housing program and transitioned into the project-based rental assistance program. And both of those are relevant because the 2 properties that we have here with the Kyle Housing Authority, one of them is in the public housing program and one is in the project-based rental assistance program. So we have a history of working inside both programs over the last 80 years. So we were asked to come and help about this time last year, it was July of last year, to provide some assistance with the management when the previous management company had given their notice and that they were going to step down and move away from managing the properties. And so we stepped in on an interim basis to grant time to the Housing Authority to be able to go out and find a permanent replacement to manage to run the properties and manage the Housing Authority business and the day-to-day operations. And so we've been glad to help out throughout this year. And once everything is finalized and formalized with AZJ Ventures, we'll continue to work together with them and with all of you to make sure that that's as smooth a transition as it possibly can be to hand that over to them at that point in time. So with that, we've been actively engaged in the day-to-day operations of the properties. And again, to bring everyone a little bit up to speed, during this time, about, I guess it's 3 months ago now, back in March, both properties received physical inspections from HUD, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Both properties scored well. Charles Young scored a 92 ultimately, which means that they will not be inspected again for 3 years. And Pete Dressen scored an 81, and that was with a HUD QA inspector, which is a little bit of a tougher inspection. But that means they won't be re-inspected for 2 years. So both of them scored well and are considered good performing properties from the physical aspect of the properties. Each month, I also try to provide some key performance indicators to give a sense of where the properties stand, and I think you received that in your information. So with Pete Dressen is the one that is part of the project-based rental assistance, which is the multifamily side of HUD. Year to date, and when we're talking year to date, we're talking fiscal year to date. So we're getting close to the end of the fiscal year because June 30th is the end of our fiscal year. So for the 11-month period that we're looking at here, they've had a 97% occupancy rate, vacancy loss a little under 3%. Year-to-date rent collection is over 96%, and year-to-date work order completion at 100%, and the annual recertifications required by HUD were also at 100%. So Pete Rustin has been functioning very, very well in all those regards. A little bit of background about who's living in our properties, and we've shared this each month just to kind of give a sense of the makeup of the properties. This property has 30 apartments, 30 households, and you see the age range. There's 44 minor children living at the property, 25 adults between 18 and 61, and 9 seniors over age 62. And then the household income, the average household income at Pete Rustin is $10,528. And in this program, both programs, residents pay 30% of their monthly income towards rent, and HUD subsidizes the balance of that. Any questions on Pete Rustin first before I switch over to Charles Young? No? Okay. So for Charles Young, the year-to-date occupancy is about 97.8%. Vacancy loss is calculated a little bit differently because of the way subsidy is provided in that program, but only about $754 lost due to vacancy this year. Year-to-date rent collection is currently at 100%, and year-to-date work orders also 100%, and also completed 100% of their annual recertifications. With Charles Young, the demographics, this is a property with 21 apartments, households. You'll see that there are a few more, especially when you're thinking of a smaller property, over age 62. So there's 10 seniors, 17 adults, 18 to 61, and only 15 minors. That also has to do with the fact of the bedroom sizes. There's only 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedrooms. Much larger bedroom sizes at the Pete Rustin property as well. Average household income here is $8,804 per year. Any questions on Charles Young?
I guess I don't have a question for just one. I'm kind of just curious what the status is with HACA and how much longer you'll be handling operations.
So our stated goal was to be finished by May 31st. We're past that at this point in time. We have also given indication that we do need to wind this down. So I'm happy to see that conversations are continuing with AZJ Ventures to get that contract finalized. And we do want to make sure that it is a smooth transition, and we've committed all along that even after AZJ takes over, we will continue to be available for information, communication. We also fully understand that we've essentially been, our finance department has been managing the finances for basically the entire fiscal year. So we will definitely be involved with the audit and the audit process that would come for this year, because we've been running the finances for the year. But the goal is ultimately for us to transition that out as quickly as possible once the contract is signed with AZJ Ventures. And my understanding is their expectation is that once that happens, it would take them about 30 days to ramp up and be fully operational. So my expectation that would be as how we would phase out. Now, the on-site property management, I want to be really, really clear to everyone, will look a little bit different. The staff member who's been functioning in that role for this whole time is moving into a new position starting in July. So there will be a different person in place, but there will still be someone on site to manage the property at that point in time while she transitions to another position, another role.
Okay, but we do have that covered, or are we looking at applications?
Right now, the AZJ has applications open for the is this property manager? Property management position, and they hope to get that filled as soon as possible. And then they also have open for the maintenance position as well. I think. Oh, never mind. Correct that. They're going to keep the maintenance person that is currently hired, so they're going to take them,
Okay.
as I understand it.
Okay. Well, Michael, thank you for everything you guys have done.
Absolutely.
The appeal, that 91 score, the 81 score. Now we don't have to worry about it for 3 years and 2 years. So thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, the transition, we're not just going to, throw our hands away and walk away. We will make sure that everything is communicated as clearly and as easily as possible for AZJ and be available for questions and throughout the time. So we're just up the road. We are a partner in the affordable housing industry. We're not competition in any way, shape, or form. No, we're here to be partners.
Thank you. I guess if there's
Hey,
no-
it's Julie. I have a question. What type of communication has gone to the residents? Because there's been quite a bit of shuffle this last year. Are they being kept in the loop of the transition of the new property management company and then that they're going to have a different on-site manager?
I don't think there's been a formal communication about the transition, primarily because I think we were waiting to get a contract signed before we started putting out a name and information. So as soon as we get a contract signed and we can lay out a clear timetable, we would absolutely do that with communication with the residents. We can certainly do it formal in writing, but we can also consider what's the best way if there's a need to do any in-person type meeting. We haven't made a decision on that yet. I think we're kind of looking to have a conversation with everyone involved, but we've held off a little bit because we didn't want to get ahead of our spot in that. And before a contract is signed, nothing's certain until it's signed, right? And we want to make sure we're
Absolutely.
not giving information that we have to suddenly change and pull back.
The city drafted the contract, and it's with AZJ Ventures now. Their legal team is reviewing it, so as soon as they approve of that, then we'll execute it, and we can start those conversations with the residents.
Okay, thank you. Do we know if residents have been asking any questions specific to the transition? Or is it kind of, normal day for them with everything that's gone on the last couple of months?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I think that's a great question.
Okay.
I don't know if you've
We
had-
met with Talisia this morning, and she did not mention that there were any questions. Our hope is that they don't even notice a transition, other than there's maybe a new person in the office. But our hope is
Yes.
that we're able to just be seamless and they don't notice a skip in services or anything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think Talisha would be probably a good person to ask how we would be better being transparent with the residents, and she's been so close. They love her. She's been so close to them, and I'm sure they're going to be sad to see her go, but she knows them best.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you.
So if there's no further discussion, hearing none? Nope. Okay. Let's move on to the next item. So moving to item 4, to consider approval of a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2026-2027 annual budget. Amber Schmidt, will you please present? Or Michael?
Good evening again. So as I mentioned before, the fiscal year ends June 30th, and so we do have an obligation to review and look at the budget before July 1, 26 through June 30th, 27. And just a few highlights that I just want to mention in here. The proposed budget does include the management fees as outlined for the new management company. It does include the cost of salaries for on-site management and maintenance staff, and the cost of anticipated utilities, repairs, and other administrative fees. Now, you will notice if you look carefully at the budget that while the properties are not that different in size, one's 20 units, 21 units, the other one's 30, the budgets are significantly different, and that has tied directly to the differences in programs that they are part of. Charles Young, being part of the public housing program, quite frankly, just does not have the same amount of revenue coming in. The total revenue anticipated is around $115,000. Whereas Pete Dresden is part of the project-based rental assistance program, collects a higher contract rent, which means higher subsidy from HUD, with an annual anticipated revenue of about $465,000. And so what we've done with the budget that you see before you is the things that are specific to the properties. Utilities are specific to the properties. Those are the real charges that we anticipate for the properties. But the things that are shared between the properties, quite frankly, the budget is reflecting a higher portion of the shared costs being carried by Pete Dressen, because that's where the higher revenue is. And if you look down through the whole budget, then at the end, the net income or net for the year is negative for Charles Young, anticipated about negative $25,000. Pete Dressen, it is positive by about $1,300. There is money with the Housing Authority through other sources to cover that difference in the negative $25,000 for Charles Young. So this is not just putting a budget on paper and then hoping we come up with money later on. No, there is real money that can cover that and pay for that difference. And I want to just add in here also.
Michael, do you want to speak to them about the reason why Pete Dressen is able to collect more revenue than Charles Young and how that works?
So this really is a function of the two different housing programs. In the project-based rental assistance program, this program came into existence when HUD was working with private owners to provide subsidized housing in the rental market. And so historically, project-based rental assistance properties have a higher revenue rate because they collect a contract rent, which is closer to fair market. It's not fully fair market. Residents don't pay that full amount. Residents still pay only 30% of their income. HUD is paying the balance of it. So based on that and getting usually what they call a OCAF or operating cost adjustment factor every year, which for the state of Texas this year was 6%, their rents keep going up every year by a factor that's tied to economic indicators in the state that you're in. The public housing program is not structured that way. Public housing program is structured by just a baseline of subsidy, which is not tied to any type of contract rent, in addition to residents paying 30% of their adjusted income. What's happened on the subsidy then, however, is every year that is subject to congressional approval on an annual basis. Pete Dressen is in a 20-year contract. Every year they get that percentage increase every year that keeps going. They also started at a higher level. Public housing program, if Congress doesn't approve as much, if there's budget cuts, their subsidy can actually go down. But there's also been in the past, and I honestly can't tell you how far back in the past, but it predates our involvement. I actually think it even predates the previous management company's involvement. So probably going back the better part of 10 years, that the company, the management company and operating at that point in time was not actually capitalizing on the maximum amount of subsidy that they could have been requesting. And over the years, that has led to Charles Young falling farther behind. And there's no way to recapture that after the fact. There's only the ability to move forward and capture the maximum that we can each year moving forward, which we've worked to do this year. That does also play an impact in where we're at with the finances for Charles Young.
Well, thank you for the clarity. Is there any further discussion from the board regarding the budget, Julie, Brian?
Yes. Yes. So how are the management fees being determined? I guess is that still in negotiation?
So the board approved at the last month's meeting to negotiate a contract in the amount of $138,000, I believe, with the management company, and that's what we have agreed to, essentially. So we went out for a request for proposals and received the proposal from AZJ Ventures, and so they gave us a pricing structure, which we followed.
Gotcha. I feel like it's low 20% of what, the gross rents are, so that's why I had that question. Thank you.
That's a good question.
This is Julie. Are we going to get a copy of the contract signed by ACJ, Amber?
You certainly can.
Okay. Could we have that on the agenda for next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay,
going to ask
thank
for,
you.
too. I'd
Absolutely.
like to look at it.
I can send it out as soon as it's executed to the board.
Okay. Well, I guess since there's no further questions, let's move on to entertaining a motion to approve the resolution for adopting the fiscal year 2026-2027 annual budget. Is there a motion to the resolution? Okay. I move to approve the resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion passes. Okay. Well,
And then just really quickly, then,
Yes.
in order to meet certain requirements for HUD, we will need a copy of the minutes of this meeting to submit to them to demonstrate that we have actually approved a budget for next year.
absolutely. I did have a request to put something on the agenda for next meeting, if possible.
Sure.
Can I email it to you, or do I just tell you right now?
You can do either.
Okay. Well, I guess before I make a motion to adjourn, I wanted to take advantage of the 4-member board that we have here right now. I think, as some of you know, this board spent last year doing the hard work of getting us back to good, legally compliant places after years of stagnation. I want to say a huge thank you to Rosie, Amy, Melissa, Debbie, and Michael Roth, and all of HACA. I'm sure I'm missing a few names, Katie, but we could not have made it to this point without your knowledge, your skills, your experience, and honestly, the work ethic. Y'all did the hard work. We just kind of sat back and let you guys do what you do. And because of that work, today we're starting with a fresh, clean slate, like I said earlier before. So with Austin being so close, I feel like there's a pressure to keeping this affordability in Kyle for local families. And I want to keep Kyle affordable, but we already have massive traditional apartment complexes in our area. And I guess what I'm asking is that we need larger family-oriented housing, like neighborhood duplexes, where kids have yards, maybe a small yard, driveways, maybe less of an apartment style. I feel like that's something that the residents bring to our attention, is that it's so cramped in an apartment complex of 200 people, and sometimes things don't have pools or parks or gyms or all the nice amenities. And if they do, you cannot afford them. I know we have 3. We have Charles Young, Pete Dressing, but for the apartment complexes, we have
Opal.
which we still haven't
Opal
gone to
Point.
see. And I feel like that's just not, with the amount of influx growth that we're getting, that's not enough for people. Like, there's no choice. It's, you either go to an apartment or you don't live here, or you live really far away. And I get it. We're close to Austin and Buda and San Marco or San Antonio, but I feel like there's something more that we can do. So I guess I want to add maybe a discussion or a feasibility item on the agenda next meeting, which I think is July.
Yeah, July 22nd. So Chairwoman, you actually have, the city of Kyle is undergoing a housing assessment report, and Aves from Austin Housing Works in Austin is doing that for us, and he should be wrapping up in August, and so we will bring that to you. And
Okay.
to your question about what kind of housing do we need, what kind of affordable housing do we need, that strategy assessment will answer some of those questions and inform some of your all decision making when you're thinking about the overall affordable housing question in Kyle. So we'll be bringing that back to you, and then you all can decide if there's other, if you want to branch out and do other things. The council did just approve at the last council meeting to also make part of this study an anti-displacement study. So we're going to take a look at that as well.
Okay, that's great. Then I'm not asking for something that's not already being done.
And Chairwoman, I want to
yeah.
take a minute to thank you and Julie and Katie for stepping up and at a time when we really needed you, and you all had to make a lot of hard decisions. And I'm just proud of you guys doing that for us and in the Kyle Housing Authority, and couldn't have done it without you all and your support and your commitment to affordable housing in Kyle. So really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Julie and Katie are super smart. They are super smart, and they really care about the people in Kyle. And it didn't take long for us to get attached to the residents that we were able to meet at our first meeting and realize that, like, they need help. They get help, but they need help. And we got to figure out a way where we can help more than just them, because we understand there's a wait list. But, government moves so slow, and I wish we could have these other options for them immediately. But all I'm asking is that we start talking about it. If we're not talking about it, then we're not actually listening to the residents. And I don't want to scare residents into thinking like they're going to be taxed more property tax. They're going to know this is more of a public-private partnership for future duplexes, and it's just talking about it, because we need to know what we can do in the future. It's not going to happen next month, next year. It's in the future, but we got to do what we can, and we got to bring in some kind of money to be able to do what we want in order to help them with affordability. And so I know people might watch this and be like, oh, they're going to start charging. No, we're just talking. We're just in talks. But yeah, thank you, Amber. But thank you.
And we will add that item as well at the
Okay.
next meeting.
Okay. So if no other feedback by the commissioners? No, really? No? Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to adjournment. Item number 7. Okay. So with no further business on agendas tonight, or on the agenda tonight, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 This meeting is officially adjourned at 6:34 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.